In the normal course of order when picking a vice president, typically what is done is the presidential candidate will look for somebody who shores up some weaknesses or can draw votes from an area that they themselves might be weaker in. It's one of the reasons why we'll just say that Barack Obama picked Joe Biden. He was an older man than Barack Obama is, more established in the party, white, maybe people who were apprehensive about a young black guy being president. They'd be soothed by the presence of Joe Biden. It's what it is. Kamala Harris, some people are saying, people like me are saying that even though Mark Kelly isn't the perfect Democrat, he holds a lot of ideas that I disagree with. If he could secure Arizona for us, that would be great. He's also a veteran, so it will repel some of the attacks about being anti-military or whatever that could come Kamala Harris's way. All of that's nonsense anyway, but this is how you pick a VP candidate. And Donald Trump inexplicably picked JD Vance, who doesn't shore up any area of the vote at all. He doesn't bring anything. Donald Trump is almost guaranteed to win Ohio already. That's not going to be a problem. Why would you pick JD Vance? It doesn't make any sense at all, other than the fact that he appeals to the most radical elements of the party, which Donald Trump already appeals to. So I just don't get it. But the other thing that JD Vance does not bring is even his home area. I got a clip here from CNN, and it is remarkable that every metric, every measurement, JD Vance does nothing but hurt the Trump campaign. So why in the fiddle and fuck did they pick him to be the vice presidential choice? Why? No one can explain it other than the reporting that Donald Trump wanted to go in a different direction, and his dopey kids convinced him that JD Vance was the guy. Here, though, is this clip from CNN. Harry Enton, who's their stats guy, used to work for 538 with Nate Silver. You can do with that information as you please. But here he is really compiling the numbers and talking about just what a detriment JD Vance is to Donald Trump.
He does worse in his home region at minus 16 points than he does in the average of all polls, which is a minus 5-point net favorability rating. So the people who know him best, the region that knows him best, they like him even less than America likes him. And of course, as you pointed out, again in that kind intro, is he is historically unpopular for a VP nominee coming out of his first convention as the VP nominee.
All right, so let's specifically look at some former Republican vice presidential candidates. What do you see?
Yeah, you mentioned Sarah Palin. How about Dan Quayle as well? These are two folks who I think most people remember as not being particularly popular. The amazing thing was coming out of their conventions, they actually were pretty popular. Quayle with a plus 15-point net favorability rating. Sarah Palin with a plus 26-point net favorability rating. Again, Vance at minus 5 points is just off the charts and falling off the chart in the wrong direction. Not up above the chart, but down below the chart. The fact is, he is historically unpopular, even more so than VP nominees, who of course went on to infamy. At least in terms
well, I mean, right.
of
So you
candidates.
look at what happened to those two, and they plunged. Some may say, well, maybe there's nowhere to go but up for Vance. But in margins, that's not true. It can get worse.
It
and worse.
can get
I
definitely
just don't
worse.
know which way it will go. All right. So when this comes to the broader country, you talked about how the area that knows him best right now in the favorability likes him least, but undecided voters. That's what this is about. There are more of them than a lot of people care to admit.
Yeah.
And prior to the seismic shift in the race, many of them may have gone for Trump.
Could have.
Now, who knows what they're going to do? How does Vance play there?
He doesn't play well with them at all. His favorable rating is just 5%. Just 5% hold a favorable rating. 29% hold an unfavorable rating. That makes a net favorability rating of minus 24 points. That's worse than his net favorability ratings overall. The fact is, if undecided voters are going to make up their mind based upon JD Vance, they're going to make it and make the choice for Kamala Harris.
5% favorable?
5% favorable.
Ever heard of anything like that?
I really haven't. There's still a lot of folks who are undetermined on him, but that 5% is not something I think is going to go on his wall of fame.
And this is why, I think it was last week, it may have been this week, everything runs together. This is why Donald Trump is regretting his choice. And still, I think there's a possibility, outside possibility, but still a possibility, that they might go a different direction. They might dump him from the ticket and pick somebody else. I don't know what the mechanism would look like, being that, it was the convention has already been done. But these numbers are stark. He's negative 16 points in his own home region. The people who know him best hate him the most. That says something. And undecided voters, a 5% favorability. Look, none of this has to do with all of the hilarity that has ensued on Twitter about him, putting a kitchen glove on and going to town on a couch, or the fact that he shared dolphin porn or some other bizarre thing. None of this has anything to do with that. It deals with substance, what he supports, and the radical nature of the policies he wants to bring into effect in America. That's what it deals with. It's not general unlikability. It's the fact that he has said horrible things about women, childless cat women, and he doesn't appeal. He doesn't broaden the ticket. So again, the question is, why pick him? The answer is that the Republican Party, the bench of talent is so shallow that it's only radicals. If you remember the list of people that Donald Trump was considering picking, Marjorie Taylor Greene was on that list. It tells you just how radical the party is, that there are no normal people in the pool to be chosen. If you're from Kentucky or Ohio, his home state, he spent summers, I believe, in Kentucky, I want to hear from you. Where are you on this? I know I've got some Ohio haters in the audience too. I know what you think, dipshits. But still, I know you're going to call. So 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. You can also just leave a comment below. We can mix it up there. That is always a terrible time, good time. If I am your flavor of political commentator, if I do something that you like, if you appreciate my takes, or the looking at my stupid pumpkin head, click the join button below, become a channel member. Helps me make these videos. I would appreciate it very much. $2 a month. You can also go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All those are great ways to help support this work, and I would appreciate it very much. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Until then, be genuine and take care of one another.